58 years down the line, on the 12th Parliament, has Kenya achieved independence? Good afternoon, hello, and welcome to this conversation. You with me, David KAGINA, and with me is an amazing panel of young people over here who will be getting to discuss with me, have we achieved independence? And if we have, how is it so far? How is the work? So let's start with you, Daisy. Hello, introduce yourself, say what you do, and what do you understand by independence?
Hello, my name is Daisy. I'm a cake artist. I just graduated the other year from a Bachelor of Arts in French that deals with linguistics, media, and communication. So I'd say yes and no to that question. Yes, we have achieved, or rather attained, independence from the white man. But no to the point, to the fact that somehow we have chained ourselves as Kenyans yet again with so many things in terms of, if we dissect it into terms of the finance, our economy, our health sector, there are many things that are going rogue in our system per se that have chained us.
Thank you. Moving on to my right side, the gentleman, welcome to the show. Tell us your name and what you do, and what do you think, or what do you understand by independence?
Okay, my name is Kelvin, but you can call me Bakari as well. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I am a HR and labor expert. And when it comes to independence, you have to understand certain things. Independence can be attained physically, but until you attain independence of the mind, then you will forever remain enslaved. And the question today on Madaraka Day we're supposed to be asking ourselves, not just as Kenyans but as Africans, is have we really attained independence of the mind? Can we think independently? Or our colonial masters are still around hovering, finding a way of puppeteering us around so that they can safeguard their interests?
We're coming to that conversation right about now. Moving on to the gentleman on my left.
I'm Peter Mwine from Daystar University, a student leader. To me, independence per se to me is the ability to coexist and structure our interest to our way of life and to what we really believe in. So I feel like so far so good. We've reached a milestone as Kenya and we are still going ahead. And I believe we should trust every process that entails this independence, and everything is going to be fine.
Interesting. Stella, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Stella Nzisa. I am a market research analyst. And that's a very interesting question because like every other, linguistics, we learn about evolving words. They evolve every meaning. That independence in the days of our forefathers meant something totally different. Yeah, we were not born into their reality. The reality of the white man is here. You're not allowed to be in this hotel. You're not allowed to go to school this way. You're not allowed to think in this way. For you, there's a knife that is meant for you. So independence was totally different then. And I think now we have achieved that. 1963, 1964, good work, cool stuff. It has birthed what we are today. I myself am sitting here as a whole woman, cameras here, we're talking together, stuff like that. I couldn't do this. I was supposed to be at home right now, 9 children, stuff like that, yeah? But now we are here today. I can say that we are well informed. I have the privilege of education, but I am born in a different reality, where independence is, as he has said, Pan-Africanist, the independence of the mind, and also independence from what, as a society, we have held ourselves back from. Things to do with class, things to do with is our education. Right now we are growing to the reality that our education hasn't really taught us how to think. So are we really independent?
Very interesting. Pass on the mic. Yes. So you can introduce yourself and tell us what do you understand by independence.
Thank you so much. I am Liz Bialma, customer experience and employee experience expert. I think we are not really independent. We are independent, yes. I would like to attest to the fact that we attained the colonial independence, but we haven't really attained independence as Kenyans. Yes, the colonialists went, they left. We are independent from that, but there's still very many things as a people, as Kenyans, that we are still struggling to attain every other day, especially when it comes to our economy, our health sector is very wrong. Like very many patients, like cancer patients, we don't have a stable health sector. Recently, COVID-19 pandemic was just a mess in the way it was handled in the country. And as much as yes, there's independence, you haven't really achieved full independence. Yeah.
Moving on to Peter, you had mentioned something about we trusting in the process. So have we achieved independence? And what process are we speaking about here?
I think we have achieved independence, and the process I was talking about is, if you look clearly, democracies undergo processes. I know we have issues in health, we have a looming debt ceiling, we have so many things that haven't been achieved, but all these are processes in democracy. We cannot try to yearn to be like America or Britain or the West. They also went through processes. So yes, we have achieved independence. And yes, there are some things we haven't really achieved as a country that we perceived we could have achieved 58 years by now, but we haven't. We just have to come up with the reality that these are processes. And if we trust in these processes, we are going to achieve what we haven't achieved in the current anticipated time. We're going to achieve it rather easy than how we thought it could be had. So I feel like we should put much trust and faith to our systems. No systems are perfect. They are bound to, have errors because they are really run by men. You see, no systems are perfect. We're always going to have systems whereby some of them are not working for their people, some of them are there to oppress their people, some of them are there to persecute their people. And all these are processes. There's no nation that hasn't gone through these processes. And I feel like if you compare us to Burundi, trust you me, we have achieved so much than some of the countries that even had independence 10 years earlier than us. So I feel like let us trust in this process. That is how democratic the process is in terms of independence and in terms of us trying to believe in what is really ours as a nation.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to, just throw a random question to Buana Peter here.
Bring it on.
Right now I feel like we're undergoing through a comparative analysis with other countries. And at the same time, we have to own our journey. So we are talking about general things like trusting the process. Systems are flawed, which we don't refuse. I mean, man is not perfect. We will anytime we err, something like that, yeah? But the question is this. Why are we generalizing this? What is the process? What are the metrics of this process?
What I'm talking about when I say trust the process, you asked about metrics. Currently the metrics are really dynamic. The metrics we used in 1963 are not the same metrics we're going to use in a modern Kenya right now. We're going to use different metrics. If you look clearly, back in 1963, we never had a woman CJ. Currently we do have a woman CJ. So it shows you that metrics are really changing and things are shifting towards what the people want. You see, currently we have an independent institutions. Though not all of them are independent, but at least per se, they're shifting turn into being independent. Look at offices like the DPP. Back then, you couldn't question, but now we can question and prosecute people who are in corrupt processes. So all this shows you that there's a change and shift in metrics. And we just have to put a little more faith in these metrics. And trust me, they're going to work for us as Kenya.
Kelvin.
Yes.
Do you think the metrics we're working on are fully independent?
When you talk about the metrics you're having, he's talked about issues like having a woman CJ, we're having some sense of freedom, we have offices like the DPP and such that are actually constitutional. The question is, it's one thing to do these things, it's another thing to actually have them work. For example, if we had offices, we can have as many offices in the government as we wish. The question is, are they really serving Mwananchi? Are they really serving the people? But also to play the devil's advocate here, I must say, and I must actually agree with what Mr. Peter has said, we have come a long way as a country. One of the main problems I encounter when I converse with people about the issue of independence, post-independence Kenya, generally Africa, and moving into the future, is that we expect a Kenya today to be at par with developed nations such as, say, Britain or the United States or Japan. Sometimes it really escapes our minds that these countries have been independent, quote unquote, for very many years, centuries for that matter. We're only 60-something years old. And I believe, rather, that we are way far, or rather way ahead from where these countries were at their 60-something birthday. And so I believe we are making progressive steps, systems, at these processes, at these steps matching our expectations.
Question to you, do you feel, are they matching our expectations?
Expectation is very subjective.
Yes.
However, let me say this, as a person, I believe to some extent they do, and then to some extent they don't. About 60% they do, 40% they don't. Because in the recent past we have seen developments in the judicial systems, we have reforms. Electoral system has undergone reforms. We promulgated a new constitution about 10 years ago. And so these are progressive steps that they should be safeguarded in such a manner that we protect the progress that we are making. And I thank God that today, as my friend Stella here had mentioned, we have women also coming out to play in the general affairs of the nation. And these are steps we must safeguard, we must protect for us to have a better country moving forward past our Madaraka Day celebration today.
Peter, what do you think about empowerment? Have you been empowered enough as a Kenyan youth?
Empowerment goes both sides. It's really subjective in ways that you cannot claim to be empowered, but you don't see good in every other aspect that the government tries to contribute to your growth as an individual. So empowerment goes two way ahead than how we can imagine it. Personally, I believe I've been empowered by virtue that I've been able to join systems of education within Kenya. However, how much rogue and inconsistent they might be, that is still an empowerment to me. By virtue that I can swap my ID in any government office and be given a tender, be given an opportunity akin to other citizens out there, that is really an empowerment to me. By virtue that we are sitting here right now to talk about our process as an independent country for 50 years, 58 years right now, that is an empowerment to me. Democracy is brilliant in comparison. It is a rule of the people for the people, and it has to work for the people. If it is not working for the people, we are going to compare America, Britain to Kenya. Like, why are our systems not working? But you said you're also democratic. How comes they're not getting what they're getting? So it's brilliant in comparison. I feel like we've come at a milestone. Back in 1963, we could export tea, import toothpicks. Nowadays, we export tea. We no longer import toothpicks or chocolates. Do you know what to tell them? We need trade policies. Do you know what to tell them? We need more business. Can you open Mombasa port for business? Can you people ship your commodities to India through Mombasa? We no longer want toothpicks, we no longer want chocolates. Nowadays we export tea and we ask for more FDIs, foreign direct investments. Can you bring investors on board? Yes. And by the way, last year we did attract $100 million. I know that is short to $100 billion that Ethiopia did, but that is how we are still progressing. Yes.
So according to you, so far so good?
So far so good.
No. You know, you're pro-government now. Sasa, you're really pro-government. Nitasema kitu wewe mwenye amekulipa. Mukujie.
Evolution has made Kenya have this mentality of build Kenya by Kenya, and it's working. You see, I've not seen any sugar factory in Nyeri because Nyeri's economy doesn't depend on sugar. It depends on farming. And I've seen the government try to empower Nyeri County through farming. I've seen sugar in Kakamega because sugar is what runs Kakamega as a county. I've seen that in Kisumu. I've seen a fishing factory coming up in Kisumu because fish is their backbone to the economy, and that is how devolution is. So I feel like we should stop being so impatient trying to prove things to people. It doesn't make sense. Yes.
So according to you, so far so good?
So far so good.
No. You know, you're pro-government now. Sasa, you're really pro-government. Nitasema kitu wewe mwenye amekulipa. Mukujie.
Daisy also seemed to disagree with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, are we impatient, or is it that we just don't trust this process anymore? Because we've gone through, or rather we've had many processes along the way that have failed us as Kenyans. Yes, I agree. There's a quote that says, trust the process, appreciate the progress, celebrate the success, and then do some more, right? But there's a lot of trust issues between us as Kenyans and our leadership. That's what we're saying. We don't, and just before that, there's something that, as when we celebrate independence, I wish how, when we have, during like today, when the president talks, I wish he could tell us where we are as a country, what are the what are the stages that are ahead of us, what is meant to be done, so that we can get from one stage to another, to the next. Rather, what is usually there, it's another platform for politics. It's another platform for, currently it will be another platform for saying today how Corona, we've succeeded with the pandemic or these other things. But they necessarily won't tell us, this is where we've come from since 1963. This is where we are at, and this is where we're going. That is what we want to hear as Kenyans, so that we're just not trusting some invisible process over there. Where is this process? We don't know this process even as Kenyans. We want to know. Yes.
Okay, just to come in at what Daisy has said. Today we sit here and we can celebrate certain things because of the hard work of the people that came before us. And so, for that reason, I believe that we need to sit down as Kenyans as we celebrate Madaraka Day and really assess our thinking, our approach to leadership, our understanding. Let us not be zombified, walking to polling stations and casting votes because somebody gave me 200 shillings and mkate na maziwa. I will take the milk and eat the bread, and tomorrow wake up with bad leadership for 5 to 10 years. And unfortunately, some of these leaders have been re-elected more times than you can remember, before even some of us were born. And they'll still be re-elected because they are quote-unquote popular.
So far, you've stated the problem. So what is the solution? What can we do? What can be done to solve this, to fix this nation?
We have to sit down and decide that if we are going to transform this nation, it has to be out of sheer resilience, commitment, and a change of our thinking process. It's something the Benedictine Catholic monks call conversatio morum, meaning the complete or total change of our thinking process.
Okay, Liz has something to say.
We deserve better as a people. We deserve better as Kenyans. And so when systems continue failing, we just don't have to say it's like, we don't have to take it like it's okay, like it's okay. Well, we are trusting the process, with time it will be good, we deserve better. We deserve better as a people, and I think we really need to harness leadership and accountability in leadership from a very young age, like from children growing up, so that when they even get into politics, we don't have people who can easily be lured into corrupt deals and they are very okay with it. And in fact, there's a certain MP who was saying, ukipewa pesa ya bure utakata, because it's free money just to pass a bill, that's not really for Kenyans, you get. Yeah, so I think we really need to harness accountability in leadership. Yeah.
Peter, you agree? So far we have agreed that we have a problem. What can we do to fix this problem?
There's a time I was talking to my professor and I was telling him, he was asking me, why do you think the brightest of people, the paper tigers, the book intelligent of people, those who came from Ivy League universities like Harvard, and they're Kenyans, Stanford, Strathmore, USIU, Daystar, Yowen, why do you think that these people are not interested in governance? Why is it that we cannot have a professor as a president? Do you know why? These professors, these book intelligent people, these paper tigers, first of all, if you ask them, tell me 15 foreign policy options that Kenya has, they don't even know if there are any foreign policy options. They don't even know what that is. If you ask them, give me a composition of the Security Council in Kenya, they don't even know which people sit in that Security Council. So, in short, these people per se, the book intelligent people, who we might think have solutions to what Kenya faces, first of all, they're living in a utopian world. They're not interested in governance. The solution is us to bring in people on board who really feel where the shoe is pinching us from. Because trust you me, these leaders we have don't know even where that shoe is pinching us from.
Daisy, what do you think we can fix to fix this nation?
We have to be bold enough. We have to say, away with this tribalism mentality, away with this pesa kidogo mentality, because it's just for the moment. And then tomorrow and for the next 5 years, it's the decision that we'll have made there as we vote that's going to see us through those 5 years.
Okay, maybe pushing it to Stella. As a Kenyan youth, do you feel free to do what you want, or rather what is necessary to fix this country?
What really would be the meaning of freedom for me? And thinking about it right now, it would feel like walking in Kenya, in my country, walking into offices and feeling dignified. I'm going back to the same place and feeling like I have my dignity. And so for me, if I would personalize freedom, it looks like that, and I still don't feel it. What are my solutions? What are my solutions for that? I think empowerment for us is not being taught how to make maths or beadwork, ama kufunguliwa M-Pesa, ama kufunzwa kuride motorbike. Empowerment for us is teach us about taxation. Teach us about these investments you're doing. Teach us about that. Let me know that the Big Four agenda is being broken down this way. And I'm not saying that this information is not available. We are just not made aware of it. There's availability and then there's awareness. It's like the way they do breast cancer awareness. People knew it's there, yeah, it's bad, but they didn't know they could come out with it and talk about it. I want to learn about that. I want to learn about how taxes work, how our financial market is working. I want to learn about our inflation rates. So that nisiende kwa duka naulizwa, nasema, si unga ilikuwa 110 last week, leo imekuwa 130. Aje, nasema inflation, unaona nini? Mtu wetu amefanya nini? Ame lockdown. Nasema, what is the relationship between that and the unga prices? I want to know that. I want to know when I save money in the bank right now. For 1 year. Nitasema mimi ni sonko ama inflation rate imeshamaliza pesa yangu. Yeah?
Nice. Pass it on to Bakari. As a person, personalize it. Do you feel free? And if not, what can be fixed about it?
As a person, do I feel free? I'll look at that question, I'll break it down to 3 sections. 1, I'll talk about economic freedom. And economic freedom in the sense that do I have the capacity to flourish economically, freely in the market society that is there. However, there are still some hurdles along the way. For example, today you want to start a company, and I'm saying this out of experience. Today you start a company, and the first thing that hits you is 1,000 regulatory obligations you have. I'm saying this out of experience because it's something I have undergone more than once. Cabs comes on your way, you need few thousands, 30-something thousand. KRA is there. They have a list of all the taxes you need to pay. Not just, you have like corporate tax, VAT of course, you have all those listed in there. The second thing, you're talking about political freedom. And political freedom, to a great extent, we have achieved that. I feel like I have achieved that. I can be able to today stand up and declare my candidature, especially with the coming of the issues such as independent candidature. You can declare yourself a candidate for any position you want, regardless of your gender, ethnicity, or any. And then you're talking about social freedom. Am I free to integrate in society as freely as I'd want to? And so we are still heading towards that, but there's still a long way to go.
Okay. Keeping it as brief as possible, as a person, have you attained the freedom, and what can be done to fix whatever you're feeling to make it better?
I think so far so good. Especially with us young people, we are the change makers. And I like the fact that we can still file petitions in case we are not in agreement with things happening. And we have the power to change things. So I think us being change makers helps us as young people with our boldness to work towards that freedom. As much as we haven't gotten there yet, because you see, like in art, very many young people are not at liberty to express themselves fully, because you can have a piece, but if it's against the government will come at you, right? So we are working towards that. But the fact that we are change makers and are able to speak out things that are not right in our country, we are.
Okay, passing it on to Daisy. As a person, do you feel free in this country?
I'd say loading, freedom loading. I personally wouldn't say I'm free yet. I don't know. I wouldn't say I've gotten to that point whereby I can say I'm totally free. In Kenya, we have the privileged and those who are not. And so it would even be better to ask the person who's not privileged, because I'd count myself as a privileged person because of where my parents are. For Desmond, maybe, from where he hails from as well, or for Biama and everyone who is here. But what about that person who doesn't have the privilege that we have right now? Is there really freedom with them? Because those are the people we need to be talking about as well.
Thank you so much. The conversation on freedom, or whether we have attained it or not, is quite heated right here. And that brings us to the end of this conversation. Thank you so much, Stella, Bakari, Bayama, Desmond, and Daisy for gracing this conversation today. It's that for now. See you next time.